up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling a little bit like the banks today. A little bit. They were down and out for a minute, and they seem to be rallying back a little bit better. JP Morgan obviously came in, and I was kind of expecting a beat on their part because if people pulling their money from somewhere, they got to put it somewhere. And reports were saying that they were going to a lot of the big banks. Then you have PNC reporting today too, which is classified as a regional, but they have like $5 billion under management. So pretty decent size for a regional bank. And they came in, they beat entire financial industry is popping off a little bit. But what else is popping off is we got Alex in the house. We got Andy. Good morning. We got Bill, Blake, Deepak, Fayaz, Jay, Lauren, Martina B is in the house. We got Michael. Good morning. Ray is in the house. Good morning, Ray. Rock is here with us. Shane, Tanya, Victor, Win. Yes, sir. All my people in YouTube land. Richard Jet. Good morning. All you other guys sitting back, lurking in the background, not commenting on YouTube. That's okay. I appreciate you. Love you guys. And make sure you guys hit that little thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you have not done so already. Otherwise, let's take a look at the markets. Win says, including me. I don't know what that means. But off to a good start, Win. Yep, we got BA is gapping down to the 100 SMA on the daily. Lucian says, hello, all. Hello. Win says, PNC. You slow. I'm not quick. We'll go with that. But we got SPY is hanging out around. This is the 4-hour chart. Let's just switch this over to a daily. But we are down slightly again. We pointed out that 413.56 zone. And again, it did go past it a little bit. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I am at the same time. This is a big resistance. I've had it on the chart for quite some time, just based off longer term volume. We hit it pre-market. We got a little above it pre-market. We got shut down toward the end of the day. We had a nice close right into it. And we are coming down, rejecting a little bit more right now. Nothing too crazy. And it's very hard for me to say bearish sentiment is on the table and we got to go bearish everything. I don't see it yet, but this is a good spot for maybe a little rest, little pause, and kind of see what we do. So I do expect maybe a little bit of a chop. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we do drop a little bit. I mean, if we go into the 15-minute chart from yesterday, I know Tony was on the mic yesterday. He was looking at this thing going, well, we're pretty overextended. We have done nothing except just go up, and we probably get a pullback to some extent. And if we do, I think probably first stop, which would be a small one, would be about 411.95, and then that would take us to 411.60 potentially. If things really pick up, then I could see us getting down to like 410.69 as a decent bounce spot. That would kind of retest that original little pivot. I don't know that we even get there. We'll have to see how this thing plays out, but there could be some profit taking from some of this move, especially heading into the weekend. And otherwise, I think we're still in the buy the dip territory. So as it gets down there, I would not be surprised bulls come in relatively strong into the markets. We got the QQQ. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Ayush. All right. This is just two Qs. I don't even think I've ever typed just two Qs in my life. We need that one extra one. Qs down a little bit more. Obviously, we do know. Okay. We do know that the tech has been mighty strong. The leader probably holding up this market. And now the SPY is getting a little bit of a bid. You still had a good VPOC from yesterday. So this VPOC is closing above all of these. I mean, that's more of a bullish than bearish sign to me. Let's flip this to a daily. And then we'll go right back to that 15, because right now where we're sitting is an interesting spot as well. But we do have, we're almost at, probably not quite there, but just about to the 50% retracement of the Qs yesterday. So Q is actually not feeling too good today compared to the SPY, which again, a lot of the banks that are rallying are going to be pushing the actual SPY up just a little bit. Yeah, this is not a great open. I mean, to the high side, we've probably got about 317.45. To the low side, you got about 316.48. So you still have a little bit more room to the downside than you do to the upside. I'm watching that volume. That volume that came in somewhere around this 317.28 zone. So again, right now, pre-market, we are below it. That could act as a little resistance, but more or less, we're just sitting right at that decent spot where we should be retesting for a bullish pop. So it depends on what happens in the next 24 minutes. If we start getting above, we'll go 317.25 ish, somewhere in that zone, and we can start closing. Especially, I would say, let's go a little higher. Let's go 317.38. If we could get anywhere, some kind of close above it, you probably have a retest back to the highs of the day. That would be my expectation. Otherwise, if we start dropping, that should be a retest spot into this 317.25 zone, and then we probably fade a little bit lower. So we are smack in the middle of, if you're going to buy the dip, this is probably the spot to do it. And if you want to continue to take profits, any kind of retest, if this thing breaks down, retest into there, and then maybe see it come in a little bit lower. Lauren says, I like BAC. It's always fun when I have to scroll out to see the pre-market. Let's see. Yeah, good little gap. Let's flip this to the daily. Yeah, I like this one too. It's up decent pre-market. It's not typically a big mover. And you don't have any real resistance. Let me get extended hours on. You have a lot of room up to like 38.18 would be my target. So that's a decent move. If we get any pullback, probably into like 29. I wouldn't throw a blind order out here for 29.18, but I would be looking in this area to see if that it wants to hold. If not, you might get like 28.89, something like that. But definitely, I think more bullish than bearish on BAC. This one is down, I mean, a decent, tremendous amount. And BAC is large too, so they're going to be playing off of they didn't have their own earnings today, right? No. Yeah, they have earnings coming out on Tuesday. So they're going to be playing off JP Morgan's earnings, with JP Morgan being up a decent amount as well. Yep. It's up a lot. I would expect this thing to fade a little bit. That's still a really good location if we open up here, though. You could see a higher push in JP Morgan, probably up to about 137.48. Depends again where we open. If we could hold where we're at now, especially above that little kind of hammerish looking candle. Otherwise, everything looks still pretty strong for JP Morgan. They like the numbers a lot. We just had a squeeze too. So here's your TTM squeeze on a daily. Nice little push from there. I don't know. I'd have to wait a couple candles, because even if we do break out to the higher side, like I said, 137.55, so it still gives you about $2 to the upside. But potential where you should have your stop is probably somewhere around 131.65. So risk reward technically is not there, but you do have a little bit of a range. Boeing. So we get to Boeing. Yep, a little bit of a gap down, so it looks slightly different than the rest of the market. They had news come out, I believe it was, yeah, so I think the actual timeline of events, Jim Cramer, I believe it was 5:45 p.m., he tweets out, Boeing is incredible. I think by 6 p.m., 15 minutes later, they came out with a report saying they're having trouble getting some of the suppliers, and the entire stock just tanks. So they apparently, the issue is some of the suppliers, or they're saying they have to hold some of the 747 Maxes in terms of delivery dates, because they're having trouble getting the parts they need from suppliers. Interesting enough, because everybody's telling me the supply chain issue was solved. Now it's not. I don't know. But this is a gap that I don't want to short yet. It's been extra resilient. Obviously, we do have the ability to get maybe back down to 195, 196 on a longer term basis. But two things on what I'm thinking of based on the headlines. They said some 747 Maxes will be delayed. They didn't say exactly how deep the problem was. They didn't say it's all of these 747 Maxes. It is some of them. And they didn't say how much of a delay it's going to be. It was a very, very vague article. So reading that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know specifically the depth of the problem. It could be horrible. It could be just, yeah, okay, it's an article that's out there, right? So obviously they're having a little bit of a trouble. Where we open up here, yeah, this is a fadeable spot though. This is not fadeable yet. This is still shortable. If we get anywhere above probably this 201.62, I think then at that point we have the ability to maybe not hit the highs or anything crazy, but well, I think we have a decent spot, maybe even bounce into some of those moving averages. So right now where it opens, yeah, I would actually be interested in a short right around here just because I have a good stop placement. Maybe I could take it above this little bit of a high wave, and that'd probably go even higher. 203.72. Yeah, I would really have to get it down to like 195, 196 for that one to really make sense in terms of risk reward. So I'll have to see what kind of candles we get, but right here, yeah, I could go a little bit shorter. I would like it to fade a little bit, and then I would probably be looking for a bounce higher on Boeing, just because I don't know how severe it is. It seems like a little bit of an overreaction. It's not like they canceled the orders; they're still there, and we don't know the time. We don't know the deep effect of what that meant. He meant wait for the dip to buy it up. He's psychotic. Yeah. Like people go, Jim Cramer's wrong on a lot of stuff. I like Jim Cramer. I actually do like Jim Cramer. At least he entertains me. But they're like, yeah, he's wrong a lot. Like this is like real time. You could not have been wrong more quicker than posting a tweet right before the report comes out. So, hey, Chuck is in the house. What is up, Chuck? All right, SPR is the problem with Boeing. Yep, I agree. That, and I also think that actually from the last earnings report, I don't understand why we got back here. I think 120 was a little too low for Boeing, but I don't really understand how we got all the way back up here off of those earnings and nothing else. I know we had some like China news and Chinese were putting in some orders, and they had some orders from I think Delta and some other things. So they got the orders in. That's great, but I don't think I don't know. They are still pretty poorly managed. The reverse. Okay, so this is the reverse Jim Cramer ETF. Short Jim Cramer. Kind of just hanging out here flat. Did have a nice little pump at one point, but yeah, I don't know. I also don't know if I could agree with a whole ETF that just shorts one person. I don't know. This is some fun times though. This is fun times. Scott says, I think Crocs is bottled up for a breakout in a swing trade. America's favorite shoe. Crocs. They're breathable, and I think that's what people like. They're so breathable. They got pretty much essentially built-in air conditions. I like this. Yeah, I like this move up higher. But the problem is, it's Crocs. It does wild things. Watch out for a few things on this chart though, and I'm not trying to discourage not going bullish, because right now we do have some bullish momentum. Question is, does it hold? This is a big old reversal signal. Major wick that came in, and then I could also see this being the left shoulder, this being the head. If this is not confirmed yet, but if that does turn into a spot to fade, that would be your left shoulder, and you actually might have a decent kind of head and shoulders on Crocs. Doesn't mean this has to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it would be something I would definitely be looking for if you were taking a swing. And then if you go bullish, and I mean, you just said swing, you didn't say bullish or bearish, but if you do go bullish here, keep in mind this thing found a ton of sellers up here. Right. So does it have the momentum to get back here? Would people be terrified of this? I would be terrified of it. But again, you don't have that little dip yet coming in. Looks like we do have earnings right around the corner. So we'll see if the earnings want to provide it, and maybe a little bit of a chop until it happens. Otherwise, you do have a decent little uptrend pushing right now. So this is May 4th. So what do we got? Another 2 weeks ish. All right. Yeah, it could break out, but into what resistance? So that would be my thought. And maybe none. We are in a buy the dip market. All right, Affirm. Buy now. Pay if you feel like it. Pay if you want to. You don't have to. Just put it on your IOU. This one, decent inside candle. Pretty bearish engulfing candle though as well. So this was a major decent gap up. This should have been a retest. We overdid that. We overstayed our welcome on that one, and that's a bearish engulfing candle. We did stay at the lower kind of third-ish range, 50% of pretty much that candle yesterday. Slight little gap up, but again, this candle is a little bit terrifying. I think your confirmation is a break of that candle. That would be decent because now that bearish engulfing candle, that would eat up a lot of any of that negative sentiment to it, and then you might get your pop. So if you want to get in ahead of time, I get it. You still could put your stop maybe somewhere below 1085. True swing trade on this one, you'd want your stop a little bit lower than that. You'd probably want it about 1025 for your stop, because this thing could still come down and just retest that one little pivot, which would be probably somewhere in that zone. So this could happen, right? And then it takes off. So having your stop somewhere under here, maybe underneath this little VPOC, would be a good idea for a swing, but that would at least allow you to get in before confirmation. And that's the spot you really need to break. Once that breaks, again, that's not a good looking candle for Affirm. But if that one breaks, the bearish sentiment is off the table, clears up a little bit of confusion, and you start probably being able to pump bullish. Day trade wise, it's a little bit of a retest gap, still inside day. And again, I'm not going to, I really, this candle, I mean, is the one I'm going off of right now, and it's inside of that. And yeah, that's a retest, but really the candle that matters is this one, and all of this action is still inside. So day trade is probably going to be a little choppy on Affirm. Let me see. We got 11 more minutes. DHR. What do I think of AMD? We'll look at that one. DHR. I do like that double bottom long term. So that's decent. I do like the fact that here's our volume area, which we are now above that significantly. We did have a little bit of a hammer yesterday. We stayed green on that hammer, so there is a little bit more buying than selling coming in yesterday, which probably maybe somebody wants to take some profits right before some moving averages start to approach it. And then we do have a little resistance here. So it doesn't look bad for a swing trade. I don't know how much volume this thing does or how quickly it moves for day trade. You got all of that volume from back there. Had a nice little uptrend with probably some kind of, really, we're just putting in some kind of pennant pattern flag. Something like this. Really, really nice support. And this could make a decent move. I like it. I like it for a swing. I think it's got decent risk reward if it pulls back a little bit. Day trade wise, yes, I don't really know too much on the day trade aspect of it. I would think that we probably have to come back and retest this candle. Swing trade basis, if I could get it at like 252.12, that's right off of that volume area. And then I throw a stop maybe like 244.47. And again, if we could break that pattern in a bullish direction, that could pick up momentum. We're actually in a squeeze on a daily too. All of those moving averages are right above us. I'm gonna throw this one on my list to watch. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna day trade it, just because I haven't looked at it enough to feel comfortable doing it. Let me add this to the lists. I like that though. It's a decent looking pattern. I'll throw it to the top just to remind myself to take a look at it a little bit further. But yeah, that looks decent. All right, and then Okta, OKTA. A little bit of a downward move. Is this market still selling? It's kind of been hanging out, huh? We're down slightly in the SPY. Qs again, a little bit rougher. This one is going to be probably leaning a little bit more. It's supposed to be a little bit to the retest, but this one you are already breaking a decent VPOC from back here. So that's going to be resistance. Give this one a candle. See if you get some kind of a green candle to take a break of, and then you do have really not a lot of room or not a lot of things in the way down to about 73.59. So yeah, this is a decent one as well, which I'll throw on the list. Okta, I have day traded Okta before. It's okay. It's not my favorite to day trade, but it's day tradable. You could get a day like this, which has like massive range in it for it. Otherwise, it typically does move a little bit slower. It does gap a lot too. So keep that in mind. Almost every day it seems to gap. Not quite every day, but a decent amount. But this should be a little retest. I would like to see this thing retest higher. Maybe we get to like 75.91 would be decent to attempt a short. Otherwise, if we get just even some kind of pre-market breakdown or something like that, you might have to take support breakdown, something like that from pre-market, and then that should get you probably a decent setup on it. But not bad. AMD. Love it. Love it. My favorite so far. Let's see, what is AMD on my list so I can drag it up. I don't think that's it. Nope. AMD. I have this thing on my list somewhere. How did I lose it? Wow, I really can't find AMD. And now you know my list is getting a little too big. All right. I wouldn't have deleted it ever. Okay. Let me just hit the little plus sign and see if it comes back. Did I really? How did I even take that off my list? It wasn't there. I don't know. Sort by symbol. Yeah, you would think I would do that. You would think that, Tony. I chose to take a longer, more probably annoying approach. This one does look like a good short. It is technically a retest gap, but we are below all of that. We've got nothing. This was like the area I was looking for this thing to break down quite some time ago. So 5 minutes. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a setup on this one. But by far my favorite. So 5 minutes. So I don't know if this is the bottom of it. Let me go fib it. Pop it, hit it, spin it, jump it, fib it. All right. We'll go right off the 50. I'll take it at 92.42. I got regular trading hours on? Yeah, I do. Okay, hold on. Don't yell at me. I forgot about that. Still not a bad location, except the fact that we already broke that down. Good call. So this would be today's VPOC. We're definitely coming down. That was our original break. That was the retest. So we already did that. So we take the breakdown on this one. We have a lot of room to run, so we don't really have to worry too much about where would the retest be. This is a sloppy pre-market. Why don't you just leave me alone with the other one? This is a little sloppier. This one's kind of more of a consolidation. So let me see. I can't really fib anything on this. Let's see. We go there. That would give us kind of top of the range. Bottom would be here. I don't think we make it up to that. Maybe we can make it. This I'll set this up. $92 even. 92.00. And then I'm gonna just go with the stop of like, I could actually get my stop a little bit higher too. I like that. I go to like 92.54. So short this one. That one I like. My personal day trade, AMD, 92 by 92.54. Again, this is going to be a spot where Bulls are going to want to protect us. But if we're opening where we're opening, they've already given up. So I'm going to get this one out here. Pastes. Cool. Let me set this up in the broker. Shorts. It would have to be a limit. $92 even. Okay. All right, so I got that one set up. Good find. I like that one a lot. I do like our stop placement. We're getting above all of that kind of 92.26. We got a couple more in case, and then we'll stop again is higher than that. If the Qs want to bounce, maybe it doesn't work, but if this thing could finally break, it's got nothing holding it back. So I'm all for that. If this thing wants to give me that green little pop into some of those resistance, and then we start to break down. I think that one looks pretty fantastic. Tony says I have a collar on AMD. It needs to go much lower for you. So I mean, if it does, the thing is, if this thing wants to break, we look good. Like there's not a lot holding this thing up. Could be a big if. I think eventually we do get that break. Question is today the day. All right, let me flip this back. It looks like we got only one more minute left. So unfortunately, everybody in YouTube land, this is about the time Real Virtual Demand. Always good to be here. I have bad timing. No, you don't have bad timing. You're right where you need to be at all times. It's pretty cool. All right. Everybody YouTube land, that's the sound of the bell. So unfortunately, I got to let you guys go. Oh, hold on. That's why. Man, I threw that order into the wrong account. I've got bad timing. But everybody YouTube, I'll catch you guys next week.